This is my class. My demonstration is part of my scholarship requirements. Got to put on a demo. I've got to put in, make something for the auction. I've got to make something for Iron and a Hat too as well, right? If not, I'll be making something for Iron and a Hat. Okay. The class that I went to is Elmer Rush's Viking era blacksmithing that was taught just a couple months ago up at the folk school. Great class. This is a class that I wanted to go to for a long time, but Elmer had not taught it for almost 4 years. Don't know why, but anyhow, it was a great class. The instructor is an excellent teacher. He's very patient with everyone. He really knows his stuff. Well, he got to spend about a year in Ireland, and in that time in Ireland, he got to handle museum pieces that were Viking burial finds from graves that the archaeologists had excavated. And so we made a number of things based upon his sketches and demo and drawings of what he saw in those museums. Started us off with simple arrowheads, nice broad points, and bodkins. This for just general use. This if what you were shooting at happened to be wearing chainmail. So I'll pass some of these things around. That's what he started us off with to get the class going.
Jim, who did you say?
Elmer Rush. Elmer Rush. We went from there to axe heads, and he showed us a typical medieval axe head. He also did a bearded one where the blade comes down. Let's just say I wanted to make sure I made an axe head. I got plenty of notes on making a bearded one, and but I wanted to make sure I got at least one done during the class. So let's start him around this way. Then he went to spear points. Hey, Vikings, what do you expect? Axes and arrows and spears, all sorts of weaponry. And this about wore my wrist off. The axe head is steeled. This is not steel. This is it would have been a steel edge wrapped around it. But doing that socketed in was really a nice thing to learn. Using a lot of the same techniques as for the arrowheads. Lastly, the fun thing was a lock. He did a lock that there's a number of names for this, but this is one of the kinds of locks that they found in these burial finds. It is I've heard it called a barrel lock, medieval barrel lock. And Jim over there brought a book in with some details. He found, and it's also called a pipe lock. So this is what we're going to be making today, is the lock. And you will, somewhere around here, is the key for the lock. When you take a look at this, you'll see that there is a small number of major pieces. So let's get our terminology down so we are all talking about the same thing. You have the body of the lock, which is a simple cylinder. You have a keeper, which contains the springs, and a bail. The bail goes down into the body. It has a square hole at the edge. The keeper slides through that square hole. The springs in the keeper expands and it can't be pulled out. And that leaves the key, which has a similar square hole that you slide in from the end, compress the springs, and you're able to push the keeper out. Now, in that particular lock, my problem was the key can slide all the way up to the end of the keeper, so to compress the springs. But it's really supposed to compress the springs and stick partway through, so then you can continue pushing it out, so you can actually unlock it. So you put the spring, the lock in, and then you got to work with it to get it out. I hope not to duplicate that today. But this is a common lock mechanism. This is a Korean fish lock, and it's got the very same thing. And this is it's the same kind of locking mechanism you find throughout antiquity in Asia. The Romans made locks of that very same design. So this one is actually easier to lock and unlock. So. We will start off with making the body. And what was used in class was 14 gauge sheet metal, and I'm going to use 1/8 inch sheet metal, but it's which is slightly thicker, mainly because it's what I had. I had 16 gauge, which is slightly thinner than a 14 gauge, but when I first did the very first part, it didn't behave the same. So what we will do with this is on the sheet metal, we're going to start off by beveling it both opposite ways on the two ends, so that when we form the cylinder, they overlap like that. Then we're going to be cutting the slot in the top of it and opening that up so we have a hole for the bail to be attached. Now I work with coke quite a bit. I'm getting where I really like working with coke, and there's no smoke, but it's hard to light. You turn off the air, and it's going to die. So let's start off with finding the remaining part.
You crush your coke a little bit smaller?
Yes, I do.
You buy your coke like this, or do you?
I ran across 2 barrels of this from someone who was leaving and needed to get rid of them. I got them for a good price, and yeah, they were a little big. But there's a local supplier, L Brand Forge, that sells coke, blacksmithing coke in 50-pound bags. And those things, they're about like this. So I do my warm-up exercise, breaking up the coke before I get started. Hopefully that's a short-lived thing.
You sell it at, Georgia Ferry, which is like too.
They used to a number of years ago, but they haven't. Last couple times I've checked, they haven't had it.
Yeah, I got it back.
Well, with the city leader, they sell the coke or coal? Coal that they sell.
Got to burn off all the sulfur, but it'll eventually turn to this.
Yeah. Like handmade size, and I think it's hard to use.
I got a.
I still have one of those. It works good. What I do, I use a carbon control fire up, put this on top of it.
Yeah.
And it'll burn down. Somebody will burn down, but it sure makes good fire.
The coke itself doesn't smoke, but boy, the coal I've been using to start it. If you came here about 8:30 or so, you would have easily found this house. Just look for the column of smoke.
So what part are you doing first?
I'm doing
The barrel part? You don't just use regular pipe?
well. I'm showing what we were showing.
Okay.
This was the technique that they would have used.
Okay.
But pipe would work, yes?
Pipe would work, yes.
But they didn't have pipe back then.
They didn't. They made their own. They made their own. Like the old water system, the pipe for the old walls.
You don't have to make
But he gets.
trouble going anvil. If I can get in there like this. When I saw Elmer first demonstrate this 7 or 8 years ago, he made the whole lock in about under 3 hours. That's why he was teaching the class and I was taking the class. So we'll see how it goes. Now all I did was flip this around to the other side. The end result is that the bevels are opposite. So if I was quick enough and this was hot enough, I could have just, flipped it over like that and continued on. But you end up with the bevels on opposite sides. That one needs a little more.
I like the shot, Jim. I like the shot.
Thank you. My hobby for a number of years wasn't blacksmithing, it was building a blacksmith shop.
Good shot. You finished that?
While that's heating up, does anybody know where you can buy a burrito like that?
Where?
I don't know, that's my question.
That's from my guy's on it. He's going to go.
Places that sell those artificial fireplaces, they sell it because what they toss in the bottom of the thing to make it look like clothes.
Basically, I used to buy it, I couldn't find it before. I found it.
You beveling it down to 0? Yeah. You beveling it down to 0?
No, not really.
They make the walls.
Now I'm looking for my mark.
No, it's farm.
Yeah, I go there. Ace Hardware sells it too.
Next part,
At least Ace Hardware and Company.
we're going to cut the slit for this hole. We'll slit it, and then we'll try to drift it out up to one edge and see how that goes. First thing I got to do is make sure, find the right spot to do it.
All right, give it back to me.
It's unlocked, I just can't get it to pop out.
I have no idea how I did it, but it's gonna.
Keep messing with me. It's unlocked, I just can't get it won't pop out.
See my problem.
Yeah, I mean, the key's all the way in, it just,
Yep.
nothing else is a brain teaser.
That's why with that one, I generally demonstrated it by opening the valve and putting the keeper with the valve
I'm
not
thinking
through the body.
what Jerry's got, but
That way I
he got a good view of someplace. I'm going to combine the two. Yeah.
Say here, Jim, take this.
Next. I like your slitting plate there.
Thank you. My son started working construction, and he and his best buddy would bring me gifts every now and then. And so his best friend worked elevator repair. They came back to install and said, hey, I got a couple of strips of 10-foot pieces of metal we use for bracing. One, I said, sure, well, how big is it? 1 inch by 4 inch. So years ago when Alex Beeler did a guillotine tool workshop, I provided a lot of material for the
This is big bracing.
yeah. So I got a slit cut. Now I'm just going to open it up a little bit. And in this fire, it doesn't take a whole lot to burn through metal. One thing that I'm doing that you can't see is when I put the drip pin in, I'm sliding this down to where the very bottom edge of the bolster hole is right on the straight edge, the edge I want to keep straight. So I'm trying to force it to move out.
So you're pretty much just keeping the top hot and the bottom of it a little cooler.
Right, right. Which is kind of hard to do in a fire like this, but I'm trying.
You just take a picture of it like it is. Yeah, you just won't be in a hurry to try to get out defense right.
And it just doesn't take long to get this small piece off. So I'm beginning to force that to go up. In the end, this cut is a trade-off of having enough material here to give you strength so someone couldn't break it, but thin enough so that you can move it like that. Making progress.
So you're trying to keep the bottom straight and just push the top
Yeah.
over.
Now, if I really wanted to, I could have made a tool that was flat on one side, rounded on the other side, but that's part of the fun of blacksmithing. You make more tools, and you do, every time you make something, you're making a tool for it. Almost there. I'm doing it a little bit at a time, slow enough, so that I don't mess it up. If I do, it goes up to 9.5 anyhow.
That's what the iron hat's for.
Right.
If it's good, it's great. If it's bad, you don't have to see it again. What do you make your tooling out of?
Well, I make a lot of it out of of all things, 1045 steel. I took a class on tools and jigs at the Coke School a number of years ago, and I can't remember the instructor's name. He's out of Pittsburgh, older gentleman, but he basically was saying, he says, okay, yes, you can use S1, S7, all this exotic stuff. However, you're a hobbyist. How many times you're going to use that slit punch or that slit tool or a square drill? It says you're probably going to use it 2 or 3 times a year. You might use it 40 or 50 times. Okay. If you spend $1 off of for a foot length of this 1045 steel, it's easy to work with. It's forgiving. It breaks slowly as opposed to break rapidly, giving splinters. And he said the end result is it's good enough for you. Not only is it good enough for you, it's cheap. So we'll use this. Stick with that. Now, let's bend it.
That's what Clay said about Battle at your house. Just have a meeting up there. He said Francis Whitaker said if you're going to make 100 of it, make 1,000 miles steel. If you're going to make 1,000, make 1,000 steel. Which is a good idea. I've been all my doing on my hydraulic press I have straight out to miles steel, and I've never go around for a piece of it. As long as it's hot iron.
If you're doing with it hot, it's usually.
And we were just looking at that book, The Mystery of Fine, and they did metallurgical analysis of the tools in those blacksmithing tools in that box. And 1040 was the highest carbon content that they found in any of the tools. So they had an as, the cutting edge was 1040, everything else was wrought iron. The hammers, the peen and the face were 1040 and everything else was wrought iron. That's all they had. Heat this up slowly so it don't burn it. The way this was bent at the folk school is on the step of the anvil, and I don't really have a good step, so I'm going to use a switch block. So I'm just going to start kind of tilting in.
By sticking your finger in it.
Huh? I still have my fingers, thank you very much. Now, once we get this thing in, we're going to braise it together, and I tell you, to me that was the neatest thing. That was one of the things I got out of this class I really appreciate, and that is just doing a simple braise to join materials. This is braised in 3 places. The tube itself is braised closed. The bail is braised closed, And if I can get into here, you can see where the spring is raised to the keeper. I don't want to show off and burn it out at the same time.
Oh, come on, Jim.
What kind of a demo is that, huh?
Yeah, push the limit.
Right. The one thing I've worked a lot on this lock was ensuring that people went straight down the barrel. Like I said, it needs a little bit of work. But the spring is raised to the keeper. The spring is raised to the keeper. The bail is raised at the end, and a tube is raised. And it is such a simple technique. And it's something you ever figure out you need to learn to study juggling in order to do this stuff right? That's my problem. That's my excuse. I didn't have a left-handed switch block. Laying it in there. Right on top. This might be my problem.
Jim, can I see your lock pieces now that you got the part? I could get the part a while ago.
With the brazing technique, I mean, it's like magic. You put twin looking borax down as a flux. You put a couple pieces of brass, just simple brass from whatever brass bar you can find, and heat it up, and the brass gets to a certain temperature. The whole thing just disappears, and you pull it out.
Put any flux on?
Yeah, borax or flux.
On Jim, on this piece here, with your springs, could you just turn the tips of the springs up just a little bit to catch that tool and push it out?
You could, as long as the end, as long as the ends collapse enough so that the keeper can come out of the bail.
Oh, I got you. I got you. You could do that.
My butter is the part of it.
Yeah. Pass that background up and see this open.
The first round was just a teaching
That's right.
moment.
Yeah,
A
that was
teaching
all
moment.
part, you can see it better. Half of them figure it open.
right back on.
Yep. You know, sign that I'm using a slightly thicker material that this rod works. On the other one, I'm using the same size piece of sheet metal, it's just that it's a little bit thicker.
So you reckon there?
Let us hope.
The collaring.
Yeah.
I do that when I make barrel hinges, make the hinges for a thing.
Yep.
And at the same time. When I make,
There's another kind of block that instead of slitting and drifting that open, they put a collar around the end, bring it up, and the bail goes through the hole in the collar. So it's a little tighter, and then it braids to the bottom.
like a collar around the edge of it.
Yeah.
So what if the Vikings locked up at a big axe or hammer couldn't take apart real easy?
Yeah. According to Elmer, Viking axes, they might have been a little bit bigger than the one I passed around. They weren't a whole lot bigger. They never found a double-bladed axe. So big old massive battle axes with two blades, Vikings didn't carry them. Just like horns on a helmet. They never had horns on their helmets. Now the plastic one I got for my son when he was 5, it did, but
It just made more of a dramatic effect.
yeah.
You know, the Vikings were very smart people. They built 3 cities, one in Sweden, France, and one other country. They are all in a perfect line, all 3 of them.
Perfect.
Vertical line.
Really? You mean
On the map.
On the map?
Yeah. They were very good navigators. They knew where you want to land.
Huh. Jim, you got a screwdriver you would stick in there and then wedge that open and dodge it.
Well, might have to do that.
Put in your swedge and then hammer it all the way around smoothly.
Yeah.
While it's cold, it'll loosen, it should loosen it up. Do that when it's 4 yards away.
Hold your back.
You sit there, you see a little hand in there.
There we go.
Perfect.
That worked.
Frank, pick that up.
No.
Oh, man, empty for a second.
That's something I would do.
So we'll move to slightly smaller size mandrel on the inside.
So what diameter bar was that you used?
That one was a 5/8. This one's just a little bit smaller than that.
I was trying to hand it Mark so he could see what the inside looked like. He did it.
Anthony, did you put that back together?
No, he did.
No, yeah, don't blame that.
There's one in every crowd.
He's young, trying to figure everything out.
No, that's the best way to learn.
No, the shear works the other way, under it.
Yeah, turn it up on the thing.
One of the other harassing the oldest.
Better be careful.
You want to say it works.
I wouldn't mess it up, I think outside.
Don't get the T-waves in there, Marvin.
Stick it on the hair. Open up that brace and it'll come right out.
Okay. We've got a cylinder that can actually slide off the rod. We've got overlap on the edges of the overlap of the edges of that what we've beveled in the past. It's in halfway decent alignment, so let's brace it.
I didn't hear you say this, but your actual length of this, you just use the pipe formula with a little bit double the thickness of the material?
So this looks about right.
Okay.
That's a very important thing. The diameter of this, when you get the keeper out, the diameter of that determines the diameter of the slug that goes on the end of the keeper. It's got a 400 feet. It also determines the diameter of the bail, which has to slide straight in. Doesn't matter doesn't matter what size you use as long as it's really consistent. The bail, he controls everything that happens in that going on because the size of that square hole is the size the keeper has to go through. The key, which I haven't made a key yet, has to be basically the same size as this, maybe a little bit smaller. It's got to go in, compress the springs, and but then get stuck most of the way. So they all interact. So for brazing,
Oh, right behind you on the sweat block.
You didn't get an A on this, did you?
I think you got an L. No, it's Melvin reaching it back. Just standard flux.
standard 4-axle flux.
Do you brush it off first or?
Well, I'm going in an area that I can't get to.
Oh, okay, on the inside. All the way through?
Not yet.
Not yet.
This one's actually a little hot to be pouring stuff down here. So we do the 4-ax, and I put a couple of these pieces of brass in there. Well, I looked at this thing up online. I go like, okay, the grazing rods using a bronze, which is a slightly different alloy than brass. Yet, was it really brass that Elmer used or something else? So I looked up things online before I looked at my notes. And there's people out there using just plain old bare copper wire for this. Because it just matters how hot you want to get it. So we put a couple pieces of brass in there. And the whole idea is you heat it and you watch it until that piece of brass disappears. It melts. So once he melts, you take it out because if you keep heating, it will melt so fine. It's going to flow through all the cracks and you're not going to have any support in there.
You always melt from the inside.
Yeah. It's going because if I do this right, it'll flow all the way through.
Well, you can't turn a tractor, do it from the outside, you can close the inside, let it from the inside to the outside.
Of course, this is the part
Well,
you can't see, so I have to take the word for it.
You start drawing into it.
Well, when listening to Ernie Grinnell 2 weeks ago, he did the same, but he did it from the outside. He said he flushed it, and then he'd take a welding, one of the brass rods when it was hot, and just sit it on there and just push it into it as it's going up the crack. And then brush it off. You know, everyone does a little different. That's how he said he did it.
Yeah, Elmer said he also used brass filings off of metal he cut.
I can see that. You can forge weld the same way with brass filings.
Yeah. Or steel filings.
Well, I use the filings off my second race.
Yeah. Okay, that side's done. This side's done. When Elmer's demonstrated making that spear, he forge welded the seam for that socket. And when he finished forge welding it, he went back over with iron filings, forge welding iron filings on it until you cannot see the seam. So his looks a whole lot better than that.
Was he using pure iron?
Just iron filings from a bandsaw cutting.
My boss went to the Union Blacksmith. He went to the Union Blacksmith demo, the spring meet, and the demonstrator was welding at red heat.
Really?
Yeah.
The filings and stuff.
He said he didn't hear what it was.
He must have been rolling, metal.
I use a lot of oil.
Must have been doing something, but he was doing that red heat.
Okay, this is fixing the melt on the other side.
Can you see it glazing up?
Oh yeah. See it balling up in there.
So, this is almost done on this side. We'll have to cut a slot in it for the veil to come in. While he's cooling, we're going to work on the veil. On this, he used a 3/16 by half. We're just going to round off the end, neck it, square punch it, and then draw that down. Plain old simple blacksmith to come up with something like that. Another neat thing about this is all the forgings for small pieces. If I really knew what I was doing, I could do all this in half the heat or quarter the heat.
All right. There you go. We're good.